Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I am here today with Bruce McCurdy. Hey, Bruce.
Hey, David. How are you doing tonight?
Good. That was a good win for the Oilers. 7-3 over the Vancouver Canucks, the hated Vancouver Canucks. So there wasn't a lot of heat in that game by the end of it. Or the Canucks kind of look like the reverse side of the coin for the Oilers, a little discombobulated maybe this year. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, they kind of came apart at the seams there in the
Yeah.
third period.
Are they struggling? What's their deal? Let me just check the standings. I had those up the other. It's just I shifted off. Yeah, they're let's see. Vancouver's record now is they are where are they? Are they ahead of the Oilers?
Oh.
They're 11th. Yeah, they are 11th. Well, they're doing better than the Oilers. 14 games, 7 wins, 4 losses, and 3 overtime losses. So they're 7-7, but they've got more loser points.
The Oilers are 7-8.
Yeah, fake 500.
Yeah.
15 points in 15 games for the Oilers now, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Yep.
All right, Bruce, this is our two good things.
500.
Fake 500. I didn't say the grade A shots, did I? So the Oilers dominated this game. In the grade A shot count, it was 15-9 with the subset of 5 alarm shots, 9-4 for the Edmonton Oilers. So quite a dominant performance, and just in the nick of time for the Oilers. They needed a dominant performance, and they got one tonight. Bruce, this is our two good things, two bad things, and two numbers podcast. And because of the timing of our good things and bad things that we're going to have, I'm going to go first tonight. Usually you go first, but
sure.
I got it's more in chronological order, and both of you and I are kind of a fan of that kind of way of presenting things. So my good thing, Bruce, was Connor McDavid. And my best thing about McDavid was actually, let me just see when this happened. It was a rush in the second period, I believe, where he took the puck and just it was early in the third period. Excuse me, six minutes into the third period, he took the puck and just took it in front of the Oilers, the high slot in front of the Oilers' own net, and charged up the ice, moved it on the Vancouver defense, deked around a couple guys, and got into, just inside the dot and unleashed a dangerous shot. And it looked to me in that moment like he'd never been injured, which is really good, because what I'm afraid of when he gets hurt is then he's hurt for the rest of the year. He's fighting injury. And now he, that may have just been one play, but he actually did look pretty much back to normal tonight. I couldn't tell that there was that he was fighting any obvious injury. So Bruce, that would be
got
fantastic.
Better as the game went on too, I thought.
Yeah. Do you agree with?
Good sign. Yeah.
Do you agree with that assessment?
Yeah. Yeah. He had a strong game, and how many contributions did he have himself?
I haven't totaled it up, but he made nice plays. He was on the first power play that they had where they scored right after it ended. He was really playing well in that power play, moving around, moving his feet, making plays, and got an assist on the goal. So he scored his own goal on the power play from the side of the net. Nice hand-eye coordination on that one. It kind of flipped across the net, and he hacked it in through the air. He got another assist on a terrible goal. Lankinen let in 2 stinker goals right at the end of the game, and McDavid got an assist on one of those. So 3-point night. They're quite a bit far back from Nathan MacKinnon, Bruce. At the top of the goal scoring standings this year in 14 games, 15 games, Nathan MacKinnon has 29 points.
Oh,
So he's ripping it up. And Kirill Kaprizov in 14 games has
right there.
27 points.
Yeah.
So they're going to have McDavid's going to struggle to win the scoring title again this year. Like
Same
his
thing happened last year. He got way behind and he never really could
yeah, he's
overtake
gonna.
anybody.
Nathan McKinnon is pretty good competition, and there's Kucherov, 23 points in 14 games. So he will be challenged to win the scoring title this year, but we'll see what happens. It's it's still
Oh,
early,
it's still
obviously.
early. Nice to see him break out though with the 3-point game and
His first one.
he kind of bossed that game at times. And
He's got
the
13.
power play looked so much more potent.
Yeah, Nuge looked good too. I thought a little like he might have got that shot up in the third period, but
Yeah.
Nuge looked better. McDavid has 13 points in 12 games, so he's yet to really catch fire and detonate so far this year. But tonight was the first real detonation
hmm
in terms of points, I think, this year for McDavid, where he really got it going on. What's your good thing, Bruce?
Yeah, I am going to go with how Edmonton took this game over in the third period.
Yeah,
After initially they had the game by the throat. It was 3-0 early in the second. I think by our count, it was the first period was pretty dominated by Edmonton, and then they made it 3-0, and it's just like they relaxed. And like within 2 minutes, it was 3-2, and Vancouver had a couple other really great chances that didn't go in, and two that did go in. And the air was a little blue in McCurdy household there for a few minutes because things were going sideways in a hurry. And then I thought this third period could be a long, painful period if they're going to play it in their own end. Well, it wasn't at all because they didn't play much of it in their own end until very late when the outcome was far beyond doubt. And they didn't score. Like they had a couple of great chances early in the period. Nuge got absolutely robbed by Kevin Lankin, in the toe of his paddle was able to somehow keep the puck out. Lankin had stopped Derek Ryan on a breakaway, and he was, building a wall in front of the net, it seemed like. Then the Oilers finally broke through and scored rapidly. Connor Brown at 6:10, McDavid at 7:16, Kulak on 8:08, and that was a weak goal on Lankin. Like they burst his bubble.
they
And then
sure did.
finally, Brown with his second of the night, third of the year at 11:05. So they scored 4 goals in 5 minutes. So this is the 80s Oilers used to win games like this, where it'd be close in the third period, and then they just go wham, 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 wham. Like the old BC character, remember the fat broad and the snake? The fat
Oh
broad was
yeah, she
her
would
character's actual
pound on
name,
that
so I'll
snake.
say it. But
Yeah, the fat
she'd
broad. That was
pound
her
on the
name.
snake,
Yeah,
and there'd be one whole frame that would just hit wham, 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 wham while she was pounding the snake with her club. And that's what Oilers used to do to teams where they just get 4 or 5 quick ones, and game over. And that's what they did tonight. So it was kind of a nice throwback. They did it to Vancouver a lot. They used to torture Vancouver, and they gave them a little bit of a taste of the old times there tonight. After last year's season sweep, nice to see. Anyway, Edmonton outshot Vancouver 16-6 in the third, and that's with the Canucks getting 4 of the last 5 shots when they're truly in
oh
garbage time.
yeah,
Like Edmonton
yeah.
was totally dominant for the first 15 minutes of the third, and then was 7-2 with 5 minutes left. Then they did take their foot off the gas a bit, but at that point, I wasn't even upset anymore by it like the first time.
So BC Bruce was done by Johnny Hart, and I think
Mm-hmm.
he's responsible for a lot of us having slightly warped sense of humor. Him and Brad Parker, who did The Wizard of Id with Johnny Hart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did it together. That's right.
Yeah, and I remember the Fat Broad, and they remember
Uh-huh.
there was one cartoon where the Fat Broad had on a bikini, and she asked the character who was known as BC, "What do you think of it?" And he said, "It's like a hard boiled egg with 2 rubber bands around it."
Ouch. Ouch.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
it was a cruel world of comedy in the 1970s, Bruce. Much different world.
It could be. I had a book on The Wizard of Id
Oh,
called "The Peasants Are Revolting." So
revolting.
somebody's saying to the wizard, "The peasants are revolting," and the wizard says, "You can say that again."
I love the
Yeah.
Wizard of Id. I just
Yeah.
thought,
When
yeah,
I was a
that was,
every day reading the cartoons in the journal was my thing.
yeah. I got all those books. I still have many of them actually.
Hmm.
Um, okay, yeah, I agree, Bruce. That was holding on. Oh, I was gonna say the Kulak shot that went in, Bruce.
Oh,
Like a beer league goalie would have felt crappy letting that one in.
yeah,
That was that was that was
it was
terrible
poor.
goaltending. Man, how did that go in the net? That was one of the weak. Like there's sometimes there's kind of fluke shots from the corner that go in, and it's everyone's surprised. I guess you could put that in this category because it was just like, how did that get in the net? And it was a shot from the outside the dot or down even at a tight.
I wondered if Ryan tipped it from right in front, but I don't think he did. But he may have distracted. He may have
Possibly
distracted
Lankinen.
Lankinen, and then Brown put another one through him, and they gave him the mercy pull with a few minutes left because the way he was going, they were all going to go in after that. So
Yeah. Now Vancouver could be a different team again if and when Demko comes back healthy.
oh, absolutely.
So let's not get ahead of ourselves with their goaltending or with this team. But they are they do look like, anyway, their record's as good as the Oilers at least. So what can I say? There's not much separating them. They both struggled a bit out of the gate, looks like. Um, so let's switch over. I'll do my bad thing now, Bruce.
Okay.
Yeah, so the Oilers get up 3-0, and this isn't a terrible thing, but the Oilers are trying to get the puck out of their zone and comes up the board and once, and I think it's Connor Brown who gets cross-checked right to the ice. Or who was it on the boards there who got cross-checked right to the
Into the
ice?
boards.
Well,
It was Brown.
just not into the boards, but by a Canucks defenseman pinching in. Anyway, there's a real nasty pinch where there's a penalty and it's not called, and then it goes
Right.
back to Ekholm again. And Ekholm, the reason I'm singling out this play is because he had a safe play to make. Like if
Mm-hmm.
he just had regrouped with the puck, he could have easily gone behind the net with it, passed it behind the net. There wasn't a ton of pressure on him in the moment, even though there had been pressure, a little bit of pressure building up to that. But if you just, and he is such a calm and smart defenseman, this is not like him to make a bad play, but he did. He just threw it right up the boards, hard up the boards, and it bounced in the middle of the ice off the Canucks defenseman's or Canucks player's chest, and he kept it in and put it on net, and boom, it's tipped by Elias Peterson in front of the net. A nice deflected goal, like a great deflection. But if Ekholm doesn't do that, if he
Yeah.
just is calm with the puck, which he usually is,
Mm-hmm.
there's no goal there, and it's still 3-0. And this game never is in doubt. I don't think. Yeah, Vancouver was going to have a push, but that wasn't much of a push back. So he kept his composure after that, pretty much, generally speaking, I think. And but that wasn't a good play.
Neither was the next goal, which is my bad thing.
Okay.
And it was immediately after um, Vancouver had an extremely dangerous chance in front where Ryan and Janmark got beat in close to the net, and Skinner was able to keep it out, and Janmark recovered the rebound, and it seemed like he had time. He had it in a safe spot, and he was holding the puck. Meantime, Brett Kulak, nominally a defenseman, has blown right out of the Edmonton zone, expecting some kind of, I don't know, breakaway stretch pass or something. Like he's gone. And now Janmark's back with just one other defenseman and three
Three
Canucks
forecheckers.
in the zone. And he, I think, panics a little bit and tries to rifle the puck away, but he can't get it by the high forechecker who picks it off. And now it's a 3-on-2 in Edmonton zone after the, frankly, brutal turnover by Janmark, who I will add was tonight's first star of this game, shockingly, with 3 assists. but he didn't earn that star rating on this play. And neither did Kulak, who blew the zone. Then he circled back, but he came right past the danger man, the goal scorer, Philip Ronick, to the slot. And of course, the puck came to Ronick and he pounded it into the net. So just a couple of plays where veteran Oilers who really should know better. This 3-1, Vancouver's already scored once to cut the lead. It's time to calm things down and, just make the simple play up and out. And that was the bluest that the McCurdy living room got tonight.
Does Kevin watch the games with you?
He watches them downstairs. So.
He watches them downstairs. Okay.
Yeah. So even though we're on the same feed, one of us is ahead of the other one, and when he's ahead of us, I always know when the Oilers are going to score before they do, because the big yell comes up from downstairs.
There you go.
I perk up, and sure enough, 3 or 4 seconds later, sometimes longer. Like the delay is really weird. But it's coming, then it comes. So
yeah.
Anyway, it was that one I heard some loud swearing.
Kulak's play on that burst.
What was he
All
doing?
He's got to do is hang. Come on, count the people in the zone, and just be there as an outlet. A simple outlet pass for Janmark instead of a difficult.
He didn't have the option because
instead of a difficult outlet pass for Janmark, because he was a little off balance, I think, Janmark, and then the other guy might have got his stick on Janmark's stick. But if Kulak's right down low, but working with him, So sometimes I see these Oilers defensemen jumping up into the play too early, and reminds me of Paul Coffey a little bit. But anyway, they've been doing it before Paul Coffey was coach. So they jump up into the play too early. Nurse does it often, and it's just hang back. Make sure the puck's out, then jump up into the play. And it's great when you can do that and be the fourth man and maybe making an odd man rush, but you don't have to be leading the play or leading the attack like Kulak was attempting to do there. That was not in an otherwise really good game.
He went all the way to center. He turned around at the red line.
Yeah.
And the puck was, basically deep in Edmonton territory almost all the time. And when it got picked off, it was at the top of the circle.
Yep. Not good.
Anyway, that's my bad thing on a night where there wasn't really all that many, but that one really stood out.
It did. Bruce, what's your number?
Yeah, I'm going to go with 16, and this is just as a tribute to what was a team effort for the Oilers tonight. Of the 18 skaters on the Oilers, 16 were plus players. Out of 18. The only guys that weren't were Evan Bouchard and Zach Hyman. Hyman had 2 assists, but he was also on the ice for a goal against that kind of canceled out his plus. And Bouchard had a relatively quiet night. In fact, he was in the box for the very late power play goal that Vancouver scored. But of the rest of them, Janmark, Henrique, Nurse, Kulak, Brown, Draisaitl, all +2, and Ryan, Ekholm, Arvidsson, Emberson, Stetcher, Skinner, Jeff, Perry, Podkolzin, Nugent Hopkins, McDavid, all +1. So this was a team-wide effort. All the lines were scoring, and they weren't all beautiful goals, and maybe they got lucky for, the fourth line got 1 goal off a ridiculously favorable bounce off the stanchion, and another where Lankinen just sieved one in. But those guys actually scored 3 goals, right? Or the between the third and fourth line, and they were, so they had scoring up and down the lineup. All 4 lines scored and outscored, and you can't ask for any more than that.
You can't. Especially when the stanchion chips in, Bruce, for the second game in the row. I think you see goals like that off the stanchion once or twice a year, and we've had the Oilers with 2 goals in 2 games from the stanchion. First, Hyman against Vegas. Although I don't know if that was the stanchion. It seemed like some other little piece.
It
I guess
was
is
the
it all the
dash.
stanchion or the dasher?
It was the kick plate actually. That one was low on the boards and it hit something and it just
I'm
spun
going to
off. Weird.
classify both of them as stanchion plays, Bruce. Making the stanchions plus minus this year for when it comes into Oilers games, at least +2.
Excellent.
Only 5
Another
Oilers,
team
Bruce.
player.
Only 5 Oilers have a better plus minus than the stanchion this year. Those 5 are Leon Draisaitl +6, Connor McDavid. Let me just get this right. I'm at a hockey DB here. Leon Draisaitl +6, Matthias Ekholm +5, Bouchard and McDavid +4, Zach Hyman +3. Everybody else is the same as the stanchion. Perry and Arvidsson or below the stanchion for plus minus. So way to go, stanchion. And when you get a goal like that, Bruce, when you get a stanchion goal, you got to win. You got to take that good luck to the bank and win the game. It was so disappointing. Oh, we would
Come away with nothing the other night.
We would have been so ticked off tonight if we had had another game with a really at a key moment in the game.
Yeah.
Huge key moment. Second goal of the game, 2-0. The stanchion gives you a goal, essentially. I mean, they did execute after the stanchion very nicely, but it's hard for the other team to recover. They're just so discombobulated. But that was a nice play by Ryan and was it Brown and Perry? I think it was Ryan, Brown, and Perry.
It was Janmark.
Ryan Janmark.
Janmark that made the beauty feed for the top in.
That is true.
Janmark had 3 assists in this game. I mean, that's how he got to be first star. So, and
I wonder if the stanchion's ever been named first star.
Probably not. Remember Vancouver getting a huge break from a stanchion when it mattered most, when they won in overtime the Western Conference.
Yeah, when that was mentioned, I think.
Kevin Bieksa scored on a 41 bouncer from the point after the stanchion kept the puck in.
Well, I remember Skinner got scored on from a stanchion play last year. I think it was Skinner. It hit he was out of the net, and I think it went in or something like that. I can't completely remember it. Anyway, they happen, but they're so rare. And now we've had 2 in a row, right, for the Oilers. So that's good news, I guess. I don't know if that kind of luck evens out or not.
So Bruce, very long term, it has to. I mean, it's just the math. Yes. It says it's just a random scramble. The thing about luck is not how many each way, but when it happens.
That is true.
Right?
So
you can have one bad luck play like Steve Smith, and a century's worth of good bounces are not going to make up for it.
Or Steve Smith. He had a hell of a career, though. He won a lot of Stanley Cups. He
bounced back hard. He bounced back hard and won 3 cups in the next 4 years.
He was
a big contributor to it too.
Like, he sure was.
He wasn't just a big player on that club. He grew more and more important.
The Oilers could use a man like Steve Smith again right now. That'd be just what the doctor ordered. I guess Darnell Nurse is the closest thing they have to a Steve Smith kind of player, but it's not quite as reliable just yet.
They sure could use some more physicality on the team. It's not my number, but I'll just mention again, hits in this game, 10 for Edmonton, 34 for Vancouver. Like, they're really getting pushed around on the physical side of things. And I mean, they did have the puck a lot, and it goes without saying that the team, well, it needs to be said, actually, the team that has the puck the most tends to be hit the most and have less opportunity to hit the other guys. But I don't think Edmonton had it 3.4 times as much as Vancouver did. Hits for 34 to 10. So, and I'll single out the 2 guys. Adam Henrico, I thought, had a really good game, had 2 hits, and Nurse had 3, so that was half. And then I thought Henrique had a real greasy game. Like, he was battling and along the puck, and for positions he blocked a couple of shots, and he just kind of hung in there and won his battles in close quarters.
And I will note that the 2 players I was talking about needing to go to the minors today, Perry and Ryan, had pretty good games too. So there's that.
Perry scored. Ryan easily could have scored.
Oh, yeah, couldn't he? He got in there nice and tight on a breakaway. That was a very pretty play by the Oilers. Mm-hmm. I think Janmark was in on that one too. Janmark put it to Brown, and Brown put it to Ryan, and Ryan almost scored. So anyway, I mean, I never claim these guys don't make good plays. They do, and they're not. They're just. I just don't think anyway they're what the Oilers need right now. But we won't get into it tonight on a night of a big win. Night. Yeah, Bruce, what's the next game? What's coming up?
The next game is Tuesday. It's Tuesday, and I'm trying to remember who the heck they even play. It's kind of gotten away on me. I got a schedule in here somewhere. Right here, I got the schedule. There we go. This will do it. Yeah, New York Islanders on Tuesday, Nashville on Thursday, both at home. And that will wind up the season series with the Preds.
Yeah, that'd be good if they could sweep them.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you think of the Dante Fabro thing,
and then
Bruce?
they go to Eastern Canada for a 3-4 against Toronto, Montreal, and Ottawa.
Okay, interesting. Set of games coming up. What do you think? So the Nashville Predators have waived right shot D-man Dante Fabro, and a lot of Oiler fans are going to be deeply disappointed if the Oilers don't pick him up. And what I wonder is, well, he's making $2.5 million a year. What do the Nashville management know that these Oiler fans don't know? And have these Oiler fans, you can count on one thing, Bruce. The Nashville management has watched Dante Fabro play every game that he's played this year very closely, and through his career very closely. What are all the Oiler fans who are certain? And listen, I'm not saying they're not right. It could be the Oiler fans are right and Nashville management's wrong, but I don't know where that kind of certainty comes from people who I highly suspect haven't watched every shift that Dante Fabro has played this year. And maybe you've only watched him play in the games that he's lost to the Oilers. Like, I don't get it. Because, like, I'm not saying he's not an NHL hockey player. Dante Fabro could well be one. But he's $2.5 million. And if you want someone to eat part of that cap, you're going to have to give up assets. So there's no easy deal to get him.
Well, you have to clear waivers now, and then if they're still anxious to get rid of him that they're prepared to eat some,
yeah, they can't.
And it would cost you more than they're just trying to clear his salary, or they're just trying to send him to the minors and assuming no one will pick him up because of that cap. And I'm reading on Twitter how teams have been lining up, and he won't ever get to the Oilers, or if he does, they should be all over him. And I'm going $2.5 million. Like, how do you fit that in? Like they traded Cody Ceci because he made too much.
3.2.
More than any other reason.
5.
And he made a little bit more than Fabro. But the 5, 6, and 7 guys combined for the Oilers of Emberson, Stetcher, and Dermott, they make $2.51 million for the 3 of them combined. So you bring in Fabro and you want to make space, well, you send those 3 guys out and you're breaking even, except for now, guess what? You only got 5 defensemen on your roster. So you can't do that. And I just don't see how it's feasible to make it fit. And I mean, you can bring them in and use the Evander Kane Elter space, and he'd be legal on your roster until the day Evander Kane's ready to return. But then you got a big problem. And what do? I guess you say, well, Kane's back, so we can dump some other forward, and maybe we can move around and we get $1 or $2 under the limit. But from my perspective, Edmonton, they're saving cap space. According to Puckpedia today, if they are just able to carry on as now, accruing as they do on a daily basis by the deadline, they'll have $5 million accrued. And they'll be able to take a big swing at a solid player on a non-contending team that's looking for clear out guys on expiring contracts, and they can get a pretty good player. Or you can take your swing in November at the number 7 defenseman on the number 32 team in the standings on waivers, and say, this is the move that we need to make that's going to fix the defense this year. And I'm thinking that's setting the bar a little low, And I don't hate Dante Fabro, and he's got some good things. He can He's a good passer in his own zone. He's good on retrievals, apparently. Um, and maybe that's the sort of Dylan DeMello style defenseman that we need for Darnell Nurse, maybe. But I do know this. He's been in Nashville for parts of 7 seasons now. He was a first round draft choice, and his ice time has gone from 19, 19, 19 the first 3 years to 17 to 16 minutes. This year to 13. He's been healthy scratched in 7 of their 13 games. Obviously, they're not happy with him. And they've given him, he's on his fourth contract now. He got his ELC, he got a 2 year extension at 2.4. He got a 1 year extension at 2.5, and then he got another 1 year extension at 2.5. So his salary is just kind of holding steady. And it seems like they've gotten to the point where they're just ready to cut the cord. And I just wonder what's there that's, makes this guy like any better than Troy
Travis
Stetcher.
Dermott, Troy
Yeah.
Stetcher. Yeah,
Well,
I
yeah.
agree. I agree, Bruce.
You know,
So it looked like he was trending up as a 23-year-old. I think
mhm.
like he had a pretty 24 points in 66 games, playing 1903,
Yep.
and he sounds like signs a contract then. But since then, it's just been downhill in
Yep.
terms of his
Not
play and
much
his
offense,
usage.
and yeah, and
Yeah, so it's
his
just
ice
like
time is diminishing, and he's never seems to have gotten off the third pairing in like the last
yeah.
3 years.
So
So
people seem to fall in love in Edmonton with third pairing defensemen, maybe more than any other city. There's always a faction of people that just are goo goo gaga about whatever third pairing defenseman the Oilers might have, and then they want to bring in
mm,
other ones. I'm, but some of these guys do turn out, and
yep,
I'm not here to say I have any idea about it. I can't tell you about Dante
right.
Fabro. I haven't done the work to watch
Mhm.
this guy's game, 20, 30 games, take careful notes, just have a really good sense of what he can do. Maybe he can be a really good player, but one set of NHL experts has obviously decided no, and hopefully the Oilers have been studying this player thoroughly
Right.
and have a really good sense of what his value is. So if the Oilers pass on him, I'm not going to bat an eyelash. In fact, well, they don't. I don't even think they don't have the cap space right now to bring him in. I guess they could LTIR Kane. Well, he is on or they could start to use his LTIR funds. The problem with the term LTIR, it means two different things. People can be
Hmm.
on long-term injured reserve and still be on the cap. And then we talk about using LTIR as a way to get
Yeah, you
extra
can
money
borrow
against the cap.
against it,
This is the
which is
confusion
great
about
until the
this.
guy comes back, and then you
Yeah,
got to solve your problem.
this is the confusion people have about LTIR is it's used in for two different things, completely different things. Both being actually on injured and just on long-term injury reserve, but still being on the salary cap. But then when you use LTIR, your that cap money goes outside the cap, and you can. So that's why it's so confusing. I finally figured out like what my own confusion at least
Right.
is with the term. It's used to describe two completely different states for players, one financial and one injury related. So anyway, um,
Yeah. Well, RotoWire, which gives good reports on individual players, they give an analysis of, Fabro being number 17 overall back in 2016 and being successful on the Predators blue line in his early going, but they're talking about his last couple of seasons going downhill, more or less the same things I just said.
yeah,
Whereas this year, no points, -3, one hit. That's just what we need. And 7 blocks in 6 games, while averaging 13 minutes of ice time. He's been a healthy scratch in 5 straight games. And they conclude with this gem, which I agree with. Given his 2.5 million cap hit, Fabro will likely go unclaimed and could be reassigned to the AHL Milwaukee. And I think it's pretty normal that when 7-figure contracts go on waivers, they rarely get claimed. And when people do make claims off of waivers, they're looking for the bargain basement guys. And $2.5 million, sort of a built-in bias that right away, the first thing you think, well, if the team that owns him thinks so little of him that they waived him, isn't that it's not exactly a ringing endorsement, take our
yeah,
player.
they've made a big
And
investment in him.
And there's also, it's a disruptive thing to do to your team to claim a guy, and then you got to get rid of, it's like the
Yeah.
expedient thing to do is just let guys do. And most NHL managers do that for most waiver claims. And they don't like telling their players, for one thing, well, this cast off from some other team is better than our guys. And I mean, sometimes they do it and they're right, and it's a great move. I'm not sold that this is the case on this player, and I'm just not seeing anything in his record that says he's progressing at becoming a better NHL player. He's at best spinning his wheels now for 3 years.
Some people are, I guess, are kind of hoping he can be the next Cody Ceci on the Oilers. He certainly looks like Cody Ceci's brother from his mugshot that I'm looking at.
Uh-huh.
They could easily be
Yeah.
brothers or
Well,
cousins or something.
he's
But
faster, he's better. Yeah, yeah, and he's also been healthy scratch more times already this season than Cody Ceci has in his whole career, I believe.
Yeah. And Nashville, Trotz is running that team, right? Barry Trotz.
Yeah,
And
the
who's the coach?
defenseman factory in Nashville.
Yeah.
Is,
Well, they did trade away Matthias Ekholm, so there's that. But that was the last year that David Poile was in charge, I believe.
Yeah, and their head coach is Andrew Brunette.
Andrew Burnett. Anyway, I just find it intriguing that so many people just jump all over these things and say this is a no-brainer. The Oilers have got to do this, and they're going to.
If he
They
was
could expect
making
to be disappointed.
$950,000, it would be a
Yes.
no-brainer. But if he was making $950, he wouldn't be on waivers. It's usually a reason for that, and often it's contract related, where teams say, "Look, if we can get rid of the contract, great. Otherwise, we got a better guy in Milwaukee that can take his spot," which, again, it's not really a ringing endorsement that he's going to help a Stanley Cup contender.
Yeah. Bruce, let's leave it there. You got some game grades to write.
Sure do.
And we're going to there'll be Kurt Levins's 9 Things is also coming for tomorrow. So lots of good hockey reading at the Cult of Hockey website tomorrow. Thanks for talking tonight, Bruce.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone.
And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.